I have a particular hot button issue that I need to ask you about, and that's the expansion of the Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital campus. Do you think it should be expanded, and if so, how should it be done? And in this round, we'll start with Bob Keller.
Thank you. You're quite correct. This is a really significant issue for not just the city of Santa Clarita, the entire Santa Clarita Valley. And I don't think there's any question that an expansion of the hospital needs to occur. We need to provide additional medical services in the way of inpatient facilities for this community. But there's a lot of other aspects that with this present expansion that has got a lot of people concerned. Presently, there is a reviewed environmental impact report being conducted. And I think it's very difficult to make any flat statements about it until we get that report and review that. But I know that this issue is going to continue to be a very important one to this community, and I think that we all owe it. It's an important matter to pay attention, and let's be sure that we work together and we'll come to a responsible solution. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Bob Keller. We're in the middle of a candidate debate for Santa Clarita City Council, and next to address the question is Bob Spearer. Should Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital expand its campus, and if so, how should it be done?
And again, I'd like to point out the fact that we don't have the current environmental impact report, which of course limits our options on this, but there's no question. Number one, first and foremost, is that we do need an expanded hospital. Now, again, the issues as to what it does to the neighborhood, it isn't sited in the best possible location. But it is our only hospital right now. So I don't think there's any question that the hospital itself needs to be expanded. What goes along with that, how many medical office buildings are appropriate, will be determined by the environmental impact report and by the impact on the community. But I'd like to take this opportunity to also say that that's only a part of the picture. We need to take a look at the healthcare concerns of the entire valley, the city and the entire valley in the future, because even fully expanded, Henry Mayo will only provide 40 to 50% of the medical needs of the community. And I'll tell you, that's, when we look at that alone, we're doing a disservice to our community. So I would be in favor of, in addition to the expansion of Henry Mayo, a comprehensive look at the rest of the healthcare needs of the valley and where else another facility, either another part of Henry Mayo or a different hospital, might be sited in the future.
Thank you, Bob Spear. Our next candidate, Diane Troutman, could you please tell us if you think the hospital should expand its campus and how it should be done?
Well, I have hundreds of hours of experience with this. I've always supported true hospital expansion, as have 99.9% of the citizens in our community. But the proposal that was put before the Planning Commission, the initial proposal, was not the right thing. And this decision, in my mind, is absolutely critical because the wrong decision will set a terrible precedent. As Planning Commissioner, I took a lead position and I voted against the initial proposal because it was much too much for the land use. It was a bad land use decision and it would devastate a neighborhood, and I don't think we do that. We should not do that. I led the vote against the development agreement because it was a bad development agreement. So. And as far as waiting for the EIR is supposed to give us information about what will be affected. I don't think it dictates what it is we want to see. So what I want to see out of this in the final analysis is a guarantee of a new inpatient tower, which has never been made. I want to see the lowering of the inpatient tower that remains in the plan, construction of the inpatient tower within a reasonable period of time. I support 2 medical office buildings. I don't think more are needed. We've got lots of vacant facilities within a 3-mile radius. And parking to code. And if there is going to be paid parking, I think that should come back before the Planning Commission so that the community can have a voice in how we're going to deal with that. And we need to have a transitional care unit. So there are things essential, and I support that, but I also support bringing a new facility here, and I've been saying that for about 3 years now. And I will work to get that here.
Thank you, Diane Troutman. We're in the middle of a debate between the candidates for City Council in Santa Clarita, co-sponsored by The Signal and KHTS. And I'd like to address the question about the hospital to Lori Ender now. Do you think Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital, Memorial Hospital, should expand its campus? And if so, how should it be done?
You know, you mentioned that this has been a hot button issue, and I think it's largely because it's been portrayed as a NIMBY issue that's affecting people in the neighborhood around the hospital. The truth is, this issue affects everyone in the Santa Clarita Valley and anyone who travels through it. And with the north-south corridor for trucks, that's a lot of people coming through here. I think we need to expand the hospital. When my kid bounces off the trampoline and lands on his head, he's going to Henry Mayo. When I need to go in for my mammogram, I'm going to Sheila Arvilos. We utilize this hospital. This is our one and only hospital. And the truth is, if you look at healthcare delivery, it has changed. No longer are you being admitted into a hospital for all of the services being conducted, medical services. A lot of stuff happens in the doctor's office. And in addition to expanding the hospital, we need to bring in some higher quality health care and some new physicians to the community. I have a child with special needs. Every one of our specialists is located outside of the Santa Clarita Valley. I would love to see the hospital raised in status so that this is the place where doctors want to practice. As a community, we have the highest standards for everything, for law enforcement, for schools, for parks. Why not those kind of standards for the hospital as well? Yes, I support it. It's been a lot of back and forth, but I think that it's time to look at the fact that this is the only hospital we have right now. Let's do what we need to improve things there. I think the city council is on the right track right now. They've laid out some trigger points as far as issuing certificate of occupancy after certain things are up, and so I think we've made some great progress in that area. Do we need another hospital? Yes, we do. Should we have one? Will we have one? Yes, we will, but we don't have one yet, so let's fix the hospital we have. Let's improve it now.
Thank you, Lori Ender, candidate for City Council in Santa Clarita. I'd next like to address the question to Maria Goodsite. Do you think Henry Mayo Newhall Memorial Hospital should expand its campus, and how should it be done?
Okay. Thank you. I'll echo the other candidate's response in that definitely we can't make a decision without the EIR. Another thing that I came across earlier this week is reflective of some of our hot button issues. We went through our second round of ethics training at the Water District, and they talked about public officials demonstrating a pre-existing bias on a project. You know, people want these hard answers, and responsible elected officials really can't give that to you until we see the documentation. So what I will say is I'm confident that the city is going to find a solution that not only gives us a solid hospital. We're very lucky to have one that's not bankrupt in this day and age. When we see hospitals in LA going bankrupt, we need to move it forward, because my experience with building infrastructure, every year we wait, it goes up by millions of dollars to build these things. We also need to look big picture, though. It's not just about the hospital. We need services in Canyon Country. Talk about cutting traffic. Why are we driving across the valley to get stitches in our little finger when we could have those kind of services in Canyon Country? Talk about high-paying jobs. Medical jobs are very high-paying jobs, very stable jobs, especially with the aging community. That's a great thing to have here. And, you know, we need to look at the community preservation. That's one of our older parts of town. Great neighborhoods, large trees, very peaceful atmosphere. All of these things have to come into balance in the decision. I'm sure the city's going to do a good job.
Thank you, Maria Goodsite.